That's a big deal. We have a lot of people coming, and I really believe that will be the safest place on earth. And also, I think I'll start the speech by saying, as I was saying,
former President Trump in Erie, Pennsylvania, talking about a planned trip to Butler there this week, the scene of the first assassination attempt. It will be his first visit since that assassination attempt July 13th. You can expect security to be a lot tighter and wider security perimeter and ballistic glass, which has been added to the campaign trail. Here now is Donald Gilliland, Deputy Editor of News and Investigations for the Pittsburgh Post-Gazette. Sir, thank you for your time. Let's begin with that visit in Butler, Pennsylvania. What are you hearing in terms of security and some of the measures being taken ahead of former President Trump's upcoming visit?
The officials are not disclosing any of the specific measures that they're going to be taking to increase and improve the security for obvious reasons. But at the same time, I don't think it's very difficult to figure out what they'll be focused on. The Senate committee investigating the attempted assassination has released a preliminary report. The House task force has held its first public hearing last week. And everything pretty much focuses on internal communications failures between Secret Service and local law enforcement. The instructions that Secret Service gave to local law enforcement, the lack of specificity in terms of what their mission really should be. I think that the Secret Service knows it's under intense scrutiny and will be, focused on the failures that pretty much everybody at this point acknowledges, including the Secret Service.
So in terms of the political landscape of Pennsylvania, it seems as though it is quite split. How many, or do we have a sense of how many undecided independent voters there are?
It's almost impossible to tell. And how you count them, what you call them. One political scientist said to me last week, undecided really isn't the best term. It really isn't the right descriptor, because most of the people who we call undecided are really just fed up with both sides. And so there's a real attempt from both campaigns to try to pull them in and convince those people, as he put it, to vote for the lesser of two evils, quoting Pope Francis. One of the real factors in Pennsylvania is non-affiliated voters, people who are not registered either as Republican or Democrat. The number of those voters has been increasingly steadily over the last decade or so. And it's difficult to really gauge where they are, who they are, how they lean. One pollster I talked to said he thinks they might lean a bit toward the left based on the questions he's put to them. But it's difficult. And it also raises the question of the extent to which current polls are adequately accounting for those people. They're a significant block of the electorate, and it's unclear at this point what they're really thinking.
Does it seem a safe bet, Donald, that many of those who are unaffiliated, those votes that either candidate would love to have right now, are part of the Latino community? And what's the political strategy there in Pennsylvania? Because it's a large portion, especially in places like Erie and in Allentown.
Yeah, and Reading. And both campaigns have been reaching out to the Latino community. And it's unclear. I think that one of the problems with state polls is they tend not to get down into the real nitty-gritty in a way that you can always rely upon. But there's no question that this election is going to be determined on the margins. It's just a matter of which margins. The Latino community is certainly a candidate there, but there are others. It's incredibly close. The polls themselves, as we have them, are at a dead heat. All the results are within the margin of error, so it's impossible to say which candidate is really ahead. And there's some concern that there may be an undercount that we've seen in previous presidential elections where Trump was on the ballot. wasn't so bad in 2020, but there was a significant undercount, it appeared, in 2016.
Thank you for watching. Go to newsnationnow.com to find NewsNation on your television provider. And don't forget to click the red subscribe button below to get more of NewsNation's fact-driven, unbiased coverage.